Just 7 weeks from today marks 50 years since the Edmund Fitzgerald sank on Lake Superior, claiming 29 sailors, many of which had ties here to Toledo. Only on WTOL11, we continue our 10-week series honoring the legacy of the Edmund Fitzgerald and the deep connection to Toledo and Northwest Ohio. Happening right now, Quenched and Tempered Brewery in Toledo is honoring that legacy in a way that blends history, community, and craft beer. At Quenched and Tempered Brewery in Toledo, beer is about more than taste. For brewmaster Alex Drozdowitz, it's about telling a story, remembering history. The Edmund Fitzgerald, nicknamed the Toledo Express, was the pride of the Great Lakes fleet before it sank in 1975, taking 29 lives with it.
We sat down over a couple of pints and talked about what we wanted to do, and we came up with copper ale since it was in the Great Lakes and you have the copper region and hauling back and forth all the different aggregates and copper ore. And it's going to be called the Toledo Express because that was the nickname of the Edmund Fitzgerald. And it just goes very well with who we are as Toledoans.
Drozdowitz, a welder and blacksmith by trade, crafted a copper ale to be smooth, slightly sweet, and approachable. Something everyone can raise a glass to in remembrance.
So we're trying to hit that precise middle point, but still have it be crafty and just embody the entire Toledo area and the memory of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
It's also a nod to Toledo's brewing history. Once booming before Prohibition, there's a resurgence again and a rapidly growing craft beer scene.
History and memories. Flavor has a lot to do with it, taste has a lot to do with it, visuals have a lot to do with it. My wife did the art, but being able to take something and consume it and sit back and savor it and think on the history and the memories of this event, that kind of adds a special flavor of itself.
For Alex, the ingredients in this commemorative Edmund Fitzgerald beer represent so much more.
The work it took, the laborers it took to actually build a ship like this, and then the people who actually took to man it, and then eventually losing their lives on their ship. That was their home for how many weeks out of a time, and being able to haul back and forth whatever they're putting into the hold.
On November 7th, in coordination with the National Museum of the Great Lakes, Quenched and Tempered will debut Toledo Express Copper Ale, with live music and even offering the last meal ever served aboard the Edmund Fitzgerald, chicken paprikash.
The wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald was in 1975. There's so much history in our city that as much as we can do to remember who we are, where we came from, our friends and our family who have built this or lost their lives building the area that we live in, any little way that we can commemorate them, we'll do. And we'll just do it with love, do it with collaboration, do it with community, share it with everybody.
Bringing the history and the memory of the largest ship ever to be lost in the gales of November on the Great Lakes back to life through the memories shared over a pint.
I brew them, my wife and I, we name them. She adds the art to it. She gives it a life through visual. I give it a life through tasting.
Well, the Toledo Express Copper Ale will be available at Quenched and Tempered starting on November 7th to kick off that weekend, the memorial commemoration, and continuing through the 50th anniversary of the Edmund Fitzgerald sinking on November 10th. WTOL11 is the only station bringing you weekly exclusive coverage leading up to the 50 years since the Edmund Fitzgerald sunk on Lake Superior. You can see all of our coverage so far on WTOL11 Plus and on the WTOL11 YouTube page.